Shut up and sit down.
Well, hello, Internet. Welcome to Epic Fail episode number 152 that will never stop weirding me out. I am the host, Draven Dresden. Galv is not here. He is busy. I don't know what he's doing, honestly, but he's not here. But instead, I figured we'd get an improvement. We've got a special guest right over here, Belle from PWNCast. So hello, first off.
Hi, I forgot it was video. I almost picked my nose.
Well, it's a good thing that didn't happen. Otherwise, I would have to keep talking a little longer before I switch screens.
That would have been amazing for many reasons.
Well, that would have been a first for the show, that's for sure. And I would have been like, yeah, you fit in perfectly here, no problem.
Nose picking is essential. Many people don't own up to that, right? They don't like to admit that they nose pick, but guys, it's important.
A clean nasal passage is always a good idea.
Yeah, you can't function without it, really. I mean, you can, but it would be very uncomfortable, right?
Yeah, mouth breather.
Mouth breathing, yes. Yeah. See, you know. I love that you know.
Well, I have some Kleenex over off to the side, so it's fine.
Oh, see, you really know. You're already on top of the game there.
Yeah. So anyway, like I said, Epic Fail 152, Belle from PWNCast. Welcome. Thanks for, joining.
Thanks for having me, a girl on the internet.
I know, it's weird.
We don't exist.
No, I still say that you're really a guy, and you're just using some weird camera program to make it look like you're a girl.
Yeah, catfishing is a thing, and it's important that you do that.
Yeah, especially on podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
Got the voice changer and everything.
I'm probably more manly than most men, though. I feel like I should have been born a boy, perhaps.
Given what I know, that'd be weird.
Wouldn't it be weird?
That'd be weird. I know you have kids, so if you were born a guy, that'd be like National Enquirer weird.
Science is just so advanced these days. I'm trying to be PC, guys. I'm behaving myself.
All right. So normally I would say we're PG-13, so if you go a little bit over, it's fine. I know we didn't really talk about levels of how far you can go before the show. If you go over, I do have nothing for the live show, but for the YouTube video and such later, I do have sounders that'll cover it up.
I don't see anything PvP related, so I think we're okay.
Yeah, we don't really cover too much PvP stuff here because most of the people who listen don't PvP. So
PvP's, there's a few things that'll make the F word fly out without any thought, but PvP, since we're not really dealing with that, we should be good.
Yeah, should be fine. So anyway, for the one, maybe two people we have listening, if that
one of them's my mom, probably.
Well, I'm assuming she knows who you are and what you do, but for the one, maybe two people that don't know, who are you, what do you do, that kind of thing.
Well, I am a girl on the internet, as it were. I think we can confirm that, maybe. I don't know, perhaps. But I podcast, I guildmaster, I nerd, I eat tacos, I do some content creation for Method, I throw parties, I rant. Is that a qualification for anything?
I'm sure it is for something. Honestly, if you are a content creator, ranting is almost essential as long as it is in a constructive fashion. And from what I've seen of your shows and content you've made, most of the time it is fairly constructive. There's a couple here and there that are like valid points, but yeah, most of the time it is in a constructive manner, and that's the most important thing.
I've tried to learn that people don't listen to you when you're crazy, right? If you're yelling and...
I found the exact opposite.
Well, they do in certain instances, like my husband. If I ask him 30 times something super sweet and nice and wifely, and he ignores me, and a month later I get tired of it, and then I finally snap, and I'm a screaming head case in the middle of the kitchen, okay, then, he's like, maybe I should probably listen to her because she's pretty angry. But I feel like when it comes to things that we're really passionate about, especially World of Warcraft by nature it's just passion year after year, especially with the time investment there. In fact, it's like one of the most passionate games from a player-based perspective that I've ever been involved in or seen. So I feel like, yeah, sometimes it's not necessarily, constructive. It's just pure, raw emotion.
Yeah, the closest thing I've ever come to the amount of passion or enthusiasm was a game that's no longer being made and processed and dealt with, City of Heroes, and a lot of people love that game. I was one of them before I came to WoW. And yeah, I think WoW definitely has more, not just players, but more people that are possibly overly enthusiastic. We'll put it that way. So there's definitely on both sides of the spectrum, positive and negative. But it was, man, if we could get City Heroes character creation, just the customization options into Warcraft, that'd be like amazing.
I'd never leave the character creation screen. It's one of those things where and Rem and I have talked about it in great detail. I would love to be able to make Belle look, exactly the way I want her to look without feeling like I look like the person, the other human standing next to me. I would love to be able to have that identity that's completely different. But then I realize even just the options we have now, it takes me 45 minutes, an hour of going through the same rotation of 6 or 7 options per, category that they give us to customize. And I still find myself struggling. Transmog's a whole other story that we're talking days. There's days spent. Because it's hard to be different, right? And it's hard to have different clothing that other people don't have and to make yourself stand out. And, Belle's she's a little racy. She has, she shows some skin because I don't in real life. And
what class is she?
She's a human, warlock.
Warlock? That's a clothwear AQ. There you go. You have your AQ robes.
I have her in the Black Mage Weave. Well, it's a version, so it's some of the Black Mage Weave, and then I have my Nightborn tabard because Nightborn. So she's got side butt cheek, where last expansion, because every expansion she has a different transmog that I keep. I don't change it. I keep it the whole expansion. I think it was the... Oh, I don't even know. It was like the green and purple, the hibernation I can't even remember the name of it, but where it was more side boob.
I can't even imagine keeping one transmog the entire expansion. Every time I get a new appearance for my artifact, if I decide to use that appearance, I have a custom transmog for that appearance. I play a Ret Paladin, so a plate. So for my green appearance, I've got a green transmog. For the red and black appearance, I've got red and black transmog. I even have a yellow one for the yellow appearance because I use the Corrupted Ashbringer. And I've been using that with the exception of 1 week whenever I did the Mage Tower and I finished that. I used that appearance for 1 week and then I went back to Corrupted Ashbringer, which I plan on using forever. But I have... Go ahead.
I make my weapon match my Mog. And in between expansions, I spend a good amount of time just looking and researching and seeing what looks good on Belle. And I don't like her to be too covered up, which is weird because she used to always be covered up. But I feel like we often kind of act out in game, or we're different in game than we are in our real life, because it's nice to have that, to have that fantasy. So Belle's she's opposite me. She shows some skin, and I like the same of each expansion because it's a good feeling when that expansion comes to a close, and then, okay, it's an excitement, I guess, of, especially with the downtime in between. It's something to look forward to. I'm 80% ready for the next expansion. I have to farm some things because we're going all out pirate. I get a boat. I want, boats and hoes and tacos, and I want a parrot and all that stuff. So yeah, we're going full pirate. Full pirate.
I wouldn't even say I'm even close to 80% because there's still some Mage Tower appearances and stuff like that I want to get.
I got the one on my lock, and I don't have any desire. I'm so over the weapons, though, not in a bad way. I just, I've been looking at the same things, the same rotation of stuff. I am ready to farm an instance for that specific stat weapon that I need, and the feeling of getting it and how good it feels because I finally got it after X amount of runs, and switching it up. I miss those days. Always destruction, never affliction, ever.
Yeah. Well, I know my rep paladin in particular has used Corrupted Ashbringer since it was available. Like, I got it that first. I think it took me 3 days of fishing because that was fun. But luckily for me, I was sick that weekend, so made it real simple. I was like, I can't do anything else anyway, fish. And if I didn't hit a cast, I was like, well, okay, fine. So that's what I was doing outside of real life stuff for that weekend.
That's smart multitasking, though, honestly.
I knew I couldn't do anything else. I was like, well, I want this anyway, so fish. But yeah, I was prepared for everything else. I just didn't think it was going to take nearly as many casts as it took me to get the freaking big love rocket for the Valentine's Day event.
Still haven't gotten it.
1,314 tries. That's how many it took me. Yes, I kept track.
Ooh. I get on my kicks, right? And my kicks are I want to farm and do all those, your normal, Ashes of Alar and your Northwind and all your normal stuff. But it is so hard for me to focus. And then by reset, I've already forgotten the ones that I went in, and people have shared they've shared their spreadsheets. People have a lot of spreadsheets, which you might even have. Do you have a spreadsheet?
I have an add-on that keeps track of where I need to go.
There's an add-on for that?
Saved instances. Once I go to it on any character, it'll put it on a list, and it'll say you've cleared this many bosses on there. And it'll keep track of pretty much anything you want that is a currency, an instance, how long you have before you get the credit for like the random dungeon. I've been doing that on multiple characters, and then it'll say you have 19 hours left on before you get the essences again and stuff like that. There's there are other add-ons. I got used to saved instances. Chat send method alt manager is also another one that works. I haven't used that one. I've been using saved instances since Wrath pretty much. Whenever I started using add-ons, because didn't do anything in game prior to that. Like I PvP'd and that was it. So, but yeah, it'll keep track of. Right now, I've got it keeping track of all the currencies that I need for whatever reason. So, like the essences for here's 1,000. Here, I want a free legendary. It tracks that on every character I load into.
I use that, but I don't know that I really believe that, because it goes based off the factors that lead up to the legendary, right? So it takes kill statistics and World Quest participation, instance runs, and kind of factors that into what they think is the algorithm for the legendaries.
Yeah, I don't. No, I'm talking the purchase legendaries and the vendor.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah,
I took it too far.
Yeah, I don't keep track of that because, like you said, it factors odds, and I'm just like, if I did that, I'd still be farming the big love rocket for another 12 years.
I got the Headless Horseman a few years ago, and I figured, like, okay, there's your stroke of luck, Belle. You're not going to get any farther than this. But I still try, the holiday dungeons, and it just is depressing. It makes me mad when I don't get it. I know I shouldn't expect it in the run. I should just expect to not get it. But I wouldn't even use them anyway, honestly. I'm very into my, my mounts. I have my same go-to. I don't really, all the ones I really, really wanted that I got, I don't even use.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I've been using the big love rocket on almost every one of my characters since I got it this year. The exception has been my druid, because flight form, why would I bother? And my death knight, because it's a death knight and I wanted to ride undead stuff.
Right. Right. Warlocks don't look especially scary on a pink love rocket, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be like...
I would do that just for the hilarity of it.
I want you to be scared. I want you to grrr.
Yeah.
Not laugh because here I am rolling down the street in my...
But I know in my case, I had very different luck with the Headless Horseman mount than you did, apparently. I saw it in Wrath, I saw it drop so many times that my little group of people would sell runs. And this is back before it was the, you only get one chance at it. This is when you had to have an item to summon him. We would literally sell for like 20k or 10k or whatever it was at the time. Like, we will run you until it drops. Because we had so many alts. And we made so much gold in Wrath that I think I finally used up that gold this expansion.
I need some of your golds. I'm saving for a thing.
Oh, yeah. I want to buy that too.
I am like, you don't understand. I even downloaded Trade Skill, and I used to use it, and then I didn't like it. It took up too much resources, and Bertha had meltdowns. I did. I downloaded it, and I've had an account forever, and I randomly got beta access to the new one. So I've been using that to test, and that's how you know you're obsessed with one thing, is I went through great lengths to, now I'm farming, I'm doing all my profession stuff that I haven't been doing on alts so that I can make that money, because as soon as it's available and I am able, I'm going to sell everything. The shirt off my back, I'll run around with no clothes on. I'm selling everything.
I haven't bought the spider yet, and I really want that too. But
the spider makes me feel uncomfortable.
And then I saw next, where there's a flying spider, which isn't anywhere near as expensive. I was like, I think I'll just buy that one instead.
I want the parrot, though, the flying parrot.
Yeah, there's all kinds of fun things coming out. I was like, yeah, that'll be fun.
Yes, but I am going to sell Rem to the highest bidder.
I have as much of a collector as I am, and for the record, I have a grand total of like 413 mounts. Alliance and Horde both. So it's not nearly as impressive whenever it's on one character. But I do have the highest achievement in-game so far. But as much as I'm a collector of mounts, I cannot bring myself to spend that much on mounts. Like, the 2 million just seems way too high to me. I know it's a gold thing to get gold out of the game. 5 million for that is way, way higher. And I love... Did you see the meme on that one? Where someone was like, hey, Blizzard, we need a mobile auction house. Blizzard's like, okay. Link put a picture of that because it has an auctioneer on it.
Oh, yeah, I see. I saw it on Twitter.
I was like, that's great.
I got to be really honest. I bought the yak because I transmog, and sometimes when we're raiding, I might, need to transmog because I can't. My DPS is affected by if I don't match. So if I get a really good piece and I replace it, and we have the ability, because we're outsider, it lets you mount, I need to be able to transmog, otherwise I'm not going to be able to perform to my mediocre standards when it comes to raiding, right? Because I'm a mediocre raider. I am the worst raider ever. By choice. I make the choice to, I don't love it, so.
I have not been in raid with you, but and I'm not saying anything about my current raid teams, just overall, every team I've ever been on, I can almost guarantee that you are better than some of the people I have raided with. So you are not the worst raider.
I'm the guy that stands where you're not supposed to. I'm the guy that always has to be rezzed. And I'm the guy that's always at the bottom of the DPS totem pole for no other reason other than, I mean, when I really try, it's obvious. There's a huge difference when I'm usually the first raid of each. Every single raid that comes out, I'm really on my job for like a week or two, and then the second we've cleared and we're just doing whatever, then I just go into full don't care mode. I don't love it. It's not my favorite thing, but I'm mediocre, but I need to have the ability to be able to purchase auctions on the go because Belle's busy. When she's in game doing things, she's going map to map. She's got things going on. I really need it, especially given how much time I plan on spending in Borealis, specifically running around all over the place. I just need to have it.
Sorry, I'm checking out chat, and I was like, yeah, that's possible, I guess.
I do like killing other players. I only RP on Moonguard when my server's down. Which doesn't happen very often, but yeah. I do.
I have been on that server once, and not in that area that is known. I found out that was like someone's like, well, let's go roll characters over there. I was like, oh, okay, and then that's where they went, and someone's like, yeah, I'm not going there because of this, and I'm like, oh, so I no longer have characters on that server, but I have been on that server.
Well, sometimes when you're bored, there's a bunch of you online and you're like, let's go do this taboo thing just because. So I did. And, she's got not an RP name, but she's got a very scandalous name. But yeah. I seen things, man. I don't know that I'll ever recover. There was a situation happening in a graveyard between a shaman and a druid. And sometimes stuff's weird.
Yeah. I'm right there with you on some of the scandalous names. Like, my mains are in CTR, my actual main. I'm actually insanely surprised that I got to keep the name for that guild, because they are definitely a friendly for kids, and that name has 2 words in it that are not really friendly for kids. And I don't say the name on the show, but yeah, it's one of those things. It's like, I can't believe you let me have this. It was like, it's not that bad. I was like, well, it's from a song anyway, but yeah, I've got some.
CTR's a kid-friendly guild. I guess I should have known that.
I wouldn't say kid-friendly. It's more acknowledging that there might be kids looking at the screen, friendly kind of thing. So they try to keep swearing, no swearing. They try to keep it family-friendly as much as possible. Sometimes things happen. That there's that. But once you're in a raid group, it doesn't matter if you're all CTR. It's whatever that raid group standards are, which is probably more or less, most of them are the same as every other. It's like, whatever. But
I don't have a kid-friendly guild. I mean, I try to be aware if I know that there's somebody, that's underage. But I, depending on the age, I request that they disable the chat.
Yeah.
If you're almost an adult, I mean,
close enough. You've heard these words before.
And I'm a mom, so I'll make sure that I wouldn't say anything that I wouldn't say in front of my own children. Which I don't really have a filter, so my kids know don't ever repeat what mom says because it's not good. Mom is not a good influence, so if mom's saying it, don't. That's not a thing. But I don't know. I respect and understand that, there's children and all of those things, but I try to limit that because, it's not fun for anyone to have to censor themselves, especially when gaming should be your escape. And when you have as many children as I do, I don't want to deal with anybody else's child, even though they're cute. I don't want to. But I don't come across it very often, but I'm also not on a ginormous server where that's probably more common, where, there's probably quite a few 11, 10, 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know of any actual kids in CTR, but there's the assumption that, the parents might have kids with them. So they're just like, just keep it at a PG-13 level, and we're cool. Which is why
That's not too bad.
I can think of at least 5 of my characters would not be allowed in CTR on name alone. I have a priest who, within 5 minutes of me getting past the character select screen and loading into the game, I got to talk to a GM about my name.
Yeah, Rem's had that problem on his priest. I can't even repeat Rem's previous priest's name because it's awful. He's an awful person, guys. If you're a fan, he's terrible. But yeah, it was pretty bad even for my humor. Like I got a wicked sense of humor. But
I'm probably right there on my priest name because I got to keep it for 2 reasons. Because I was able to talk my way through it. 1, it was an undead, and 2, it was a female. That was the entire reasons why I got to keep it. If it would have been a male of any gender, of any race, or a human, nope.
Interesting. Now I'm intrigued.
I will mute myself to the stream, and so only you can hear it.
Okay, that's almost exactly like Rem's, but I think his was Love's.
Yeah.
That's funny. I love that you two have the same similar sense of humor. Nobody ever reported it. The only reason he changed it is because he wanted it to have Rem in it, but he, not one time did anybody, and it's weird, and it's because it's an RP server, that's why.
I think I must have been in a zone that had a GM in it, and he must have been like leveling a character or something, because within 5 minutes, I don't think I could have gotten reported enough times that it would have been, hey, this guy needs taken care of. But yeah, I talked my way out of that one. I've got some other ones that I've had over the years that, not fit for any show that isn't rated R, but I don't play them all that often. So it's fine. You mentioned you don't really like raiding, but how far along in the raiding have you gotten? I'm assuming AOTC at this point?
Yeah, we're a heroic guild. And before, we didn't used to be in anything guild because I never wanted to deal with, as a GM, I didn't want to deal with the raid aspect of it, but people convinced me in Panda Land time, and yeah. So we started off really, really bad, a lot of bad, and we progressed into, when they removed flex and all that kind of stuff. So we're easily heroic. It's not much of a challenge except for some bosses, but
yeah.
And we're actually we're rebuilding the raid team for this next expansion. So, which is good, but I don't know that we'll ever go beyond heroic, for the simple fact of I think when your guild is mythic, I think it changes the dynamic of your guild, and it should. It's a different set of rules, and it's higher things at stake when it's people that really want that personal ambition. They want to push themselves in game to see how far they can go, and I think that's awesome. It isn't what Riders is about, and it'll never be what we're about. We're more focused on the community and having fun together. And yes, we can do harder content together, like the mythic dungeons are a thing in the guild, and all that kind of stuff. But I find that the dynamic changes when you start doing things that are exclusive, and it's fine for some guilds, but I don't like, a guild, if you're labeled as inclusive and that's the foundation, then it should, continue to do so. Exclusivity is only fun sometimes. So, we've this year, or this in between this expansions, we've had a lot of people that were in the guild for a very, very long time go to another server and start a guild so that they could push mythic, which it hurt. It was a tough, it was a tough pill to swallow as a GM, but as a friend and a game lover and somebody who likes to see people, push themselves to what's good for them, I think ultimately it's going to end up being kind of for the best for everyone. But it's good stuff. Good stuff.
You mentioned Mythic Pluses. How far have you gotten in that? Like, I'm presuming Mythic 15 at this point. Most people have that. Yeah.
I've successfully completed a 15,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't in the time.
Okay.
And I only attempted it once, so it was just one attempt.
Okay.
The problem has been, so Mythic, once you start to get higher, more is expected of you.
Yeah.
Which means I can't coast just being average anymore. I actually have to put in work. But honestly, it's just because I haven't had time. I do need to get, I don't have to worry about the Mythic 15 appearance because it's continuing on into BFA, which is the opposite of what they stated, a couple months ago. And that's great.
Yeah.
It's great that they're doing that. And I don't really care about the appearance. So it was just to have it, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've successfully completed a 14, I believe. 14 or 13. Sorry, my computer's talking to me. 14 or 13 within not both the timers, but the one, the very last timer. And it was fun.
Yeah. To be honest, I've only completed a 15 in time once. So, once I got that, I was like, cool, done. And I don't think I've done a Mythic Plus since. And that's been about a month and a half.
Yeah, I haven't done many just because I've been too busy to be in anything coordinated. I can do things where I can go and be on my own time schedule without having to answer to other people's time, just because sometimes I have to stop what I'm doing and do something else. But yeah, it's I like the Mythic system in general, and I think they were really smart with it.
Yeah, for the most part, I agree. There was a couple, I was like, I didn't go to Karazhan right away when it came back because I was like, the group people that I would find probably wouldn't be, I don't want to say good enough, but wouldn't have been up to what I would have wanted at the time. So I just kind of avoided it. And the same with the Mythic Pluses. I just kind of didn't do them for a long time. And then I did them, and people were like, you do okay, you can come with us on our better group. I was like, okay. We did that for a while, and but all right. Do you PvP then? I assumed you did something other than play the auction house.
Yeah, and I do all the PvE content, and we raid, and I only stop raiding once we've cleared, and people are pretty well geared, and it's time for break, whatever the case may be. Sometimes I will miss raid just because I'm not really needed, but I like raiding with the guild, and it's the only reason that I do. Because I do like hanging out with the guild, and I like being, with them in a non-GM capacity because I don't have to raid lead. But when it gets to the frustrating parts where I'm kind of raging because, we're doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, I do get a little frustrated because I do have just because I don't want to be a hardcore anything doesn't mean I don't have that inner. Nobody wants to fail. Nobody wants to wipe 20 times. Progression's just that progression, but nobody wants to do any of those things. Nobody signs up for that and says, I would love to wipe 100 times before we down the final boss. I would love it. Nobody does that. But yeah, PvP, although it hasn't been much this expansion, a lot of reasons, which we won't talk about because most people know already how I feel.
It involves a lot of F-bombs.
Oh, yeah. And tanks in PvP and all of the shenanigans that Blizzard pulls.
I can tell you about shenanigans for some world PvP if you want, but I don't think I haven't done a battleground this expansion, I don't think.
The brawls are good. Not all of them, but, for the most part, it's good to break up that monotony. It's fun. I love some of the changes that they're making so far in PvP for BFA. So I'm excited about war mode. There's a lot of things that I'm excited about. I still haven't tested because I'm scared and I just need to get over it. I'm afraid that it's going to be awful and I'm going to be miserable and I'm going to cry and all of my hopes and dreams for BFA are going to be over. Rem assures me that, it's fun, but his version of fun is not the same version of fun because
Well,
he's a sadist, so things that are fun for him are not fun for me. But yes, PvP, I love doing things that I don't normally do. So focusing on a profession that I didn't really fancy, in previous expansions, or I think last expansion in between Draenor and Legion, I focused heavily on my fishing, and I had barely touched fishing before then. So I like to take the elements that I didn't like about the game before and focus on achievements there to make me not like it, but to get me into it, so I have that vantage point for discussion, or I understand these players because they like this. The only thing that I haven't really took too well in the fancy department is the pet battling. I like collecting the pets because I like it when my pets match my transmog or my state of being, right? I have a different pet for every state of being. Jimma got me the enchanted pen, so when I'm in Suramar, I have my enchanted pen because it looks like the palace minder in Suramar. But yeah, PvP is my thing. I like watching it. I like being involved in the esports side of it, as far as being a fan. Obviously, Method, they're doing the PvE stuff now, but that's not really what I'm interested in. Yeah. I'm all about that PvP life.
Yeah, I've been paying more attention to the MDI than the arena stuff, just because I know more about them than I do the arenas, because I've been in the dungeons, so at least I know kind of what to expect there, and then I see them like there is no way I could compete at that because they're just better. Plus I play a Ret Paladin, and you don't see Ret Paladins in the MDI at all. Whereas in PvP, I haven't done that, so it's like they're competing at a level, and I'm just like, it's Greek. Like, I know more or less most of what they're doing, but at the same time, not enough that I could take anything really away from it, other than, wow, they're really good. Which they're in the arena, they're in the championship run. They're obviously they're good.
There's a certain personality that goes along with a person who likes going up against other people versus NPCs. And that personality, people will argue and people will say it's not true, but Belle's a truth bringer, guys. That's what we do here. We bring truth. There's a certain God complex when it comes to PvP, and the inner powerful feeling of knowing that you just decimated another player who likely threw his keyboard across the room because, depending on your class or whatever, you've trained them, or every time they come at you, you kill them, or for me, it's fear because I'm a warlock, and I love watching to the millisecond when it comes off DR on one target that I've been fearing the entire battleground because he was a jerk, and probably deserved it. But there's a certain personality that PvPers have, whether they acknowledge it or not. And I think the feeling of knowing that you're attacking another player versus just an NPC is it's a very powerful feeling, and it's fun to know that you are essentially controlling their fate in game. And from a high level, I watch the MDI, but I mute the tab. I always give it a view, even if I'm mm-hmm. not at my computer. I come in here and turn it on and give it a view because I think it's important that we support, whether I like it or not, or if it's my thing. The more we support these things that Blizzard's trying to do with World of Warcraft, the more we can keep this game comparable to, the latest and greatest of what all the other game companies are doing. So, but yeah, PvP in general, there's nothing like watching a live tournament. It is... I peed myself a few times, okay? A few BlizzCons. I peed myself, screaming, crying. All the emotions are felt. It's just like being a football fan, or, all those kinds of things, being super emotional. And I'm a Method fan till I die, so I experience every single emotion at the tournaments.
Yeah, and you said just like, football and stuff like that, it's, whatever you're into, just because I don't particularly care for Hearthstone doesn't mean it's, a bad thing. It's just not for me. That's the one game that I don't care if it's the finals or not. I just can't bring myself to watch it. StarCraft I have
football.
on. Yeah, StarCraft I have on. Overwatch I have on, but that's for ulterior motives on top of giving them the view. I like getting the free tokens for the free skins.
I hate Overwatch.
And that's fine. That I mean, you
But I
like.
have a personal reason for hating Overwatch. It's entirely personal. I have it. I own it. Every Blizzard game there is, I have. It's installed on my computer because that is I'm going to support Blizzard regardless, but I don't.
Yeah.
I don't at all like Overwatch.
And that's
my
fine.
husband loves it and plays it all the time, and that's his game. He abandoned World of Warcraft for Overwatch, which is probably why I'm salty because I lost my PvP partner, but
That could be part of it, yeah. All right. Well, I was originally only going to do like a 20-minute interview with you, but it went for about half an hour, which is fine. Don't be.
Sometimes you just have to tell me to shut up.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
I don't get adult conversation very often.
Well, you're probably not getting it here either, so it's okay.
Well, because there's Rem. He's my best friend, so any non-home conversation is Rem, and he's not an adult either. But I don't get very many non-work related adult conversations. Yeah. I'm not super social outside of my house and my internet, so if there's no Wi-Fi involved, I can't come to your house.
Yeah, I know that feeling. My socialization is literally the internet. I don't go out for multiple reasons if I can help it.
I want to put on pants, so if it involves me putting on...
Well, I have no issue with pants, but, that's one of the benefits of being a podcaster is it's pants optional. So...
Exactly. We could be wearing no pants and the world would never know.
I know. And my camera's pointed up high enough that it's almost to the point where I could just, scoot down a little bit and be like, yeah, I don't even have a shirt on.
That makes it a different kind of podcast.
Yeah, that makes it a completely different kind of show, and that's not something anyone wants to see. So, or at least not anyone sane. But anyway, as is tradition, and we talked about this during pre-show, we have a last question for the interview thing going. And what is your biggest in-game epic fail? And the example I always use is a raider on an old team of mine back in Ulduar was a warrior tank, and he charged Kolagarn, the big dude that when you kill him, he turns into the bridge. Now, charge, as you know, you charge at him. Now, he did not realize Kolagarn was about, at least a little bit off the platform. So he charged himself right off the platform to his death. So, something silly, funny that you did that you'd be like, I was such a noob.
I have the perfect one, actually. So in Pandaland, I call it Pandaland just because lazy.
That's fine.
In Pandaland, I decided I wanted to try a different role, right? And that's something I talk about heavily on my show is stretch yourself outside of the boundaries that you might end up finding the new love of your life in game. And I don't mean person, guys. This isn't, Tinder or whatever other farmersmeat.com stuff you guys are into. But I think it's important that you stretch yourself outside of that and find new things that you might not have known. So I decide, okay, I'm going to play a DK. First of all, you already know me and Melee don't mix, right? Like me and Melee, we are not together. We are apart. I don't understand Melee, and I don't. Nothing about Melee makes sense to me. So I decide I want to tank because I want to fast queue my friend he's like my leveling buddy, and we did everything together at the time, and then he went off and got married and had kids, and we don't game anymore after that. That is what it is. But so I didn't know how to be a tank, and I didn't know how it worked. And I obviously wasn't to the level I am now. This was like the very beginning stages of Pandaland. It might even actually have been previous expansion at the end. I'm not 100% sure. It might have been. Might have been the very end, like it might have been the transition. So I assumed that when you changed to your tank spec as Blood, that everything in the dungeon just came to you because Blizzard had code in the background that said, okay, you are the tank, so everything goes to you. So I didn't do anything for aggro at all. Didn't know that the abilities I had for aggro, for taunting, none of that. None of that. So we're going through and I'm feeling good. Like stuff is happening and I'm doing things, and my friend, we're on Skype, and he starts screaming at me, and he's Canadian. And every cuss word in the world is coming out of his mouth, and I can't figure out why I can't keep the boss. Like the boss will not stay, and I cannot figure out why. He goes, "What are you using for your taunt?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? What ability are you hitting for taunt?" And I'm like, "I don't. They just come to me. I don't know why they're not coming to me. Maybe it's broken." He said, "You're the biggest moron I've ever met in my life." Ever in life. Everybody died. And then he tried to explain it to me still. And I thought he was lying. I'm like, "You're just messing with me. You just want me to hit these buttons." And then I found out the truth, that it was, I really thought. Now, the crap part is I had done a few dungeons without him prior to that as a tank. And nobody ever complained. Nobody said, they just went through and they did it they killed it. They killed the bosses, and they took care of ads and stuff like that and trash, because I just assumed that Blizzard wrote code for when you're in tank spec, it automatically just stuff went to you. It just happened on its own like a magnet. That's my embarrassing story. That was an epic fail because it was awfully embarrassing when I realized that I was a moron.
It's not the worst one I've ever heard, but that is pretty entertaining. I'll give you that.
It was that moment that I never not knew 90% of World of Warcraft. I became an information vacuum at that point because that embarrassment. And he told this story, and the guild knew, and it was just this big, huge joke for like a year until finally people forgot about it and it didn't get mentioned anymore. But yeah, it was so embarrassing that is one of the reasons why I am as involved as I am now, because I never wanted to be that guy again, because it was awful.
Yeah, the closest to that kind of thing is my one raid team is like, "We want you to heal." I was like, "I haven't healed ever on this character. I don't know what to do. Just hit your buttons." "Oh, okay." So I knew I was exaggerating when I said never. I had done it once before, but I was in no way raid ready to heal. And they were like, "Why do we keep dying?" And they looked at my numbers and they were so low. I was like, "I told you I don't know what I'm doing. Let me hit things with my stick or whatever it is I'm using." I've mained a Ret Paladin since I created it. And I was like, "Stuff will die faster, but we'll need someone else to heal." And, they let me switch, and someone else went to healing, and we started killing bosses because our healers were competent. I was like, "I'm sorry, I don't, healing and me do not go together. There's a reason I don't play healers."
That's not that terrible, though.
Yeah, I mean, then another raid team was like, "You need to tank on that character." I was like, "Yeah, I don't tank on this character." "Why?" "Because I out DPS everybody else in this group." Someone else is gonna tank. Plus, I'm the raid leader, so someone else is gonna tank.
At least you didn't think that stuff automatically came to you in a dungeon when you would walk into, when you're going in the map and you go to a different room. I just expected. And I've done the normal things that you do as a warlock. You take your blueberry in a dungeon you're not supposed to. You should be taking your imp or, your depending on what your which grimoire you're using. But I mean, I've done the normal stuff, but that's
Yeah, I think the worst thing I've ever done was when I literally first started and I got into my first instance. I didn't realize I was needing on everything because I was just clicking the dice. I was like, "Oh, I got to roll the dice." The other one is the sell option, and the dice is just, you want it. I
thought the same thing too.
Because no one tells you that. And admittedly, the game had been going for a while, so I could have asked, but the person who got me into Warcraft never told me this means need, that you only use that if you actually need it as a better item than what you're using. This one means greed, you probably are going to sell it, and this means you don't want it.
My child.
Mm-hmm. Not an issue. I can take care of it. Yeah. Not an issue. I had it queued up for being able to just take you off screen for a few seconds just to be safe.
Isn't summertime fun?
Yes, it is incredibly fun. The excess heat that makes you melt, which is even worse for you, I'm sure, because I know you're in Arizona. And I know that because of Azeroth Roundtable.
He wanted me to... We wanted to remind me that I failed him as a parent today because I didn't buy something for him at the store. I didn't go to the store today. I never made it out of the house. And he wanted me to know that I'm a failure as a mother because I did not get... I don't give them Kool-Aid very often, but during the summertime, I like to get the little Kool-Aids for them by the pool so they can eat their little lunches I make and stuff. But he had to remind me that I'm a failure. Yes, in fact, the not dismissing your demon when you're in Nomergon and you jumped in. I'm famous for that. And I get so mad when somebody catches me doing it. I'm like, my demon wasn't even out. You guys are liars. Like, it wasn't even me. It was totally me because I do absolutely forget. And in fact, I have such anxiety about Nomergon because me and Rem have gotten into fights because I told him that I dismissed it and I didn't. And he was being mean. So I do have anxiety about Nomergon. But yes, it's tough to remember all the little things, right?
I mean, everyone has what they remember. Like, in my case, I have a font of useless information. If I watch a movie, chances are I'm going to remember most of it. Maybe not word for word dialogue stuff, but I will remember the gist of the movie for decades. Like, you name a movie, and if I've seen it, I can probably recite a couple lines from it. Completely worthless. Same with a lot of music and video game stuff.
Oh, yeah. I have had to lose a lot of knowledge in my brain because I believe you only have so much capacity, right? Every person has a different amount of capacity. But for every Eminem song that I've had to, that I remember, I lose a vital piece of life information for every single Eminem lyric. And there's a lot of Eminem lyrics because you have his underground stuff. I mean, there's a whole slew of things that aren't even like super famous. So I'm pretty dumb. Because the Eminem lyrics.
I mean, I will agree with the theory that there's a limited space, but I don't think anyone's gotten to the actual capacity. I would say someone like Stephen Hawking might have gotten close.
Well, according to him, we were all going to die in April, so I don't really know.
Well, I mean, he can't be right about everything.
That's true, I suppose.
Yeah. But anyway, we should probably do a little bit of actual Blizzard news stuff, because that's what the show was built on.
What? What is weird. Blizzard?
Blizzard, well, other than, an ice storm, which I still love the old Blizzard North with the snow intro to their cinematics. I wish that would come back, but...
Well, Storm Peaks is one of my favorites because of the weather, the snow and all that specifically is like my favorite weather type.
I have issues with Storm Peaks, but it involves a dragon.
Ugh.
And many hours of not getting it.
I lived in Storm Peaks for almost 8 months. And when I say lived, I mean I had to have guildies come by and pop a mailbox for me so that I could send stuff to guildies when they needed it because I wasn't moving. I was camped there during the day because I worked from home, so I had NPC skin and all that stuff. I spent all that time not actually doing anything in World of Warcraft except not moving from that spot that I was in. And I got to tell you, I'm pretty bitter. And really, it's because my old co-host made me miss the mount, so I'm kind of bitter about that. But yeah. I love Storm Peaks, though, in general. I love the music. I love the weather. I like everything about Northrend in general, actually. 90% of the areas in Northrend just kind of speak to me, which isn't a surprise that I love Colteris like I do because they're very similar. Grizzly Hills, that whole nine.
Other than some of the guilds and such that I was dealing with at the time, I would say Northrend was probably my favorite too. But I remember specifically I got kicked out of a team and out of a guild because I out DPS'd their fire mage.
They kicked you out of the guild because you out DPS'd?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I kicked everybody out of the guild that out DPS'd me, I wouldn't have anybody. It would just be me. Luckily, I have others.
I was confused too. I was like, wait a minute. You're the person who is pulling the most DPS, who's taking the least amount of damage, you don't want them because it's hurting your fire mage's feelings. Okay. Well, then I found another raid team like the next week, and we killed Heroic Lich King. So, you know, it was one of those things.
I would love to kick people out of the guild for out DPSing me, but then I would be lonely. And you mentioned Boondock Saints in chat. I wish I could show you my lamp, my Boondock Saints lamp that should be behind me but isn't. I haven't finished decorating all this stuff.
Yeah, eventually I'll get around to figuring out something I can do with these walls because this background annoys the crap out of me.
Why? It's beautiful. It's a beautiful background.
I think the first reaction I got to it was it looks like there's bloodstains on my wall, which admittedly would be amusing.
It's flowers, yes?
No, it's literally the person who painted this room painted it like a weird gray, and then took a sponge in like a maroon and just put the sponge in random places on the wall.
Oh.
It's not flowers at all.
Oh, it looks like a flower pattern, you know, like something an older lady would have in her house, or like a grandma, or...
Yeah, I can't get permission to redecorate, and I can't put holes in the wall, and I've been trying to figure out what I can do to put something up there, because I don't want to ruin posters with, you know, whatever, so I got to figure out something.
You just get a green screen sheet and put it behind you.
Because that wall behind me is literally about 3.5 feet behind me, and there's a bed behind me.
Yeah, but you could put it so where my green screen is, you can't see it, but it's directly behind my chair.
I don't have the room. I literally do not have the room. Otherwise, I
just hung it from the ceiling with command strips.
Yeah.
It stays without destroying the property.
Yeah. Landlord issues. So I can't do anything like that. I got to figure out something. If it has wheels, I could do it. But again, I don't have room. It's a very small area. But it is what it is. Anyway, enough about that because no one cares, including me.
I mean, I care.
But do you?
I'm emotional for you. Like,
I'm so sorry.
I know the pains of not having your space be your space. I had to throw a fit to finally get my husband to put up the soundproof to make my office an actual office, because it was an open loft. And you saw my child, my half-naked child. They don't wear clothes during summer because they're boys. Who cares? I had to throw a fit because I've been miserable for an entire year with never having peace and quiet unless I had my headphones all the way up. And yeah, I know the struggles. I feel you've got sponge paint on your wall, and that's stressful.
I've got stuff that I could use to cover it, but I can't put anything on the walls. Like I had an idea of using duct tape in one of those like throw rug type things. Like I've got some,
the command strips. Anything 3M that's double-sided will not ruin anything on the walls. I use it forever. All this stuff on here is all with those double-sided command strips.
It's too big. I tried it. The what I have that I can put up on the wall, it doesn't hold it. It's too big. But
Amazon has the big important ones.
Yeah. But I've got two of the throw rugs isn't right, but they're like blankets. I've got one of Heath Ledger's Joker, and then one of part of my namesake from The Crow, Eric Draven. And I've got those like blankets that I could stick behind me, and at least it would be something different. And I'd be okay with it. If I had a Deadpool one, I'd have that up too. But oh well.
Yeah, they do have ones that hold up to 50, 75 pounds because that's what's holding up my bar on top for my green screen. My bar is actually on the ceiling. and the command hook just sticks.
I will look into it eventually. Just all kinds of issues going on right now, and honestly, with real life, it's just not worth the hassle at the moment. But maybe eventually I'll deal with it. I've been dealing with it for 152 episodes. Well, we didn't actually video until like 13 or 20 or something, but either way, over 100 episodes.
There's been some weird stuff in my camera box, I'm not going to lie, over the years. Over the years, I didn't have it together, and I'm messy in my office, but I'm clean and OCD everywhere else. Like, I'm germphobic, crazy germphobic, like Sunday morning meltdowns because there's dog hair in the corner, and I'm cleaning and scrubbing everything, including my ceiling. I'm really OCD, but for some reason, my desk is just, I think it's because I'm a genius, right? Because they say that geniuses are very disorganized in their personal space. But
the thing of it is we know where stuff is.
Everything I know where...
It doesn't look like it. Like, I've got stuff all over the place, but I know each individual thing is. Like, I don't know why I have it, but I have a screwdriver right here. I've got my phone. I
can't even give you the list of weird stuff that's in front of me. I even have a thing of sweet and sour sauce just chilling under my monitor, and I don't know why.
I've got a pen. I've got my little authenticator, which I got during Wrath because I got hacked, and then that was entertaining. I got my little Deadpool.
I have a Phineas, a Carl T. Phineas, because that's my other alter ego, Carl T. Phineas. So somebody bought me a little, I think it was Murky probably bought it for me a little. I have lots of little tiny random, I have a mini Groot. I have 40,000 million different versions of Groot throughout my house. I have a Groot blanket. I have 4 different Groots that sit on my back pillow because a different person has bought me a Groot. And I sleep with my Groots. My husband gets irritated, but you're never too much of an adult to sleep with stuffed animals or toys, guys. Right? Anybody?
I would say to that, if you're okay with it and everyone involved is okay with it, then it's fine.
Yeah, I'm okay. I mean, I don't really know what my line is anymore. I really honestly have no idea. I'm 36 years old and I have a personality for every year. So I've got 36 personalities inside this body. That's a lot. So I don't even know what my line is anymore. That's why I'm a gamer, because I can do things that I can't do in real life because society, right? Maybe. Like murder. Murder's totally okay in a video game, but in real life, that's, it's...
Well, it depends on the society at this point.
It's true. And unless if you're a famous serial killer, then you're in, right? You're good for life. But if you're not lucky to be a famous serial killer, which there isn't many women famous serial killers, by the by, but...
we decided at the beginning of the show you're actually a guy, so you're good.
It's true.
Yeah.
I am probably a dude.
Yeah. But anyway, Rails, show.
I know if you want an organization, I was the wrong person.
No, it's fine. There's a reason why, there's multiple reasons why the show is named what it is, so we're good. But probably should do a little bit of Blizzard stuff. So, with that thought, I guess is the right way of saying that, we mentioned a couple shows ago, there was the Warcraft prop auction, and they had all kinds of, from the movie, all kinds of stuff. And I think the highest one that sold was like $65,000. I might be wrong on that.
Who are these people that spent this money on this stuff, and why am I not friends with you that you can throw away this money? Let's be buddies, guys. Yeah. That's like... So, I did watch a couple of those. Did you watch any of the... No. Was there any you were interested in? I did watch a few, but to me, whenever I go to spend money, I have to equate everything I'm budgeting in the price of tacos, right? Because that's... My life is offsetting. Okay. So, like... $64,000.
It ended up being $60.
It's Tuesday. If it's Tuesday, them tacos are $1. Sometimes they're 3 for $1, depending on which taco joint you go to. That is several years of tacos that we're talking about that I just can't part with. I'm very emotional about my tacos.
Yeah. It was actually $60,000 for the most expensive one. It was King Lane's Battle Armor and Shield, which is the close-up armor. And then the next one was his sword and the sheath for it, which is at $51,000. Again, close-ups of the actual metal. But out of everything there, the only ones that I really had an overall interest in was the mailbox and Medivh staff. And
I wanted the Colterra stuff.
Was there any of that?
Yeah, there's a Colterra. There's a couple shields, and there was a Colterra spear. There might have been like an arbitrary footman, like a Colterra arbitrary footman robe or garb or something. But there was some Colterra stuff there. But I figured all the if I might spend $60,000 on some King Lane close-up armor because I'm thinking that could be super useful for multiple situations in your living space. I'm not going to get into all of those because we are not in we're a PG podcast today, so we won't multi-uses. So I'm hoping that person gets all the use out of that armor. But just remember it rusts, so be careful.
Yeah. The closest thing to something like that I've ever gotten. Well, one, it was a birthday present, but I have from Final Fantasy VII a Sephiroth sword. With it, and it's battle ready. It was a birthday present from 20 people because it was a $400 sword, and it is actually within arm's reach. I've shown the stream it before, but other than that, the next purchase I really, really want in terms of a sword is the Witch King, the flail, the big giant hulking black mass on the third movie. I want that, and I just because I want to put it like above a fireplace and be like, I have one of those. I know how to use these things. This is not purely decorative.
I can wield a sword. I wanted the stand, the armament stand that had like the spears, and I would love to have that. And then let one of my children get crazy. I'm just going to point over at this thing of weapons here. You pick your own weapon. We're battling to the death, child, because you want to argue with me, because you want to go to a party that I'm not going to let you go to. So we're battling. Spock and Kirk style. I don't know if that's healthy.
Yeah, I've got the reach on you, little one, so you best pick something worth it.
I feel like I need to prepare, especially my 16-year-old. She needs to be prepared for the real world. So I feel like she should know how to wield a weapon and wield it well. Yeah. Because the way that this world is going, guys, in the next 20 years, we are going to be back to those days of armed in the streets, because that's just the way the world's going. Yeah. I'm ready, though. Zombie apocalypse and all. Let's do it. Double tap.
Yeah. I'm just going to slice the heads off, so I'll be good. But anyway, the grand total for all the auctions was, let me pull this up again so I make sure I get this number right. I'm just going to call it 1.45 million. I'm rounding up a little bit. So almost $1.5 million in revenue from the movie props.
Interesting.
What I found even more interesting, and I put this in the show notes just for my own comparison, the entire box office for Warcraft was 430 million. 0.1 for everywhere. Most of that came out of China, obviously. The US had approximately 4.7 million for its entire box office take of Warcraft movie. Now, if the props are at 1.4 and the box office was 4.7, the props, the price they made off the props was 31% of the US box office.
Yeah, it was definitely a fan movie. Well, and I think the larger implication of the auction is that we are not going to see a second movie. I think that was probably the biggest story we told. Yeah. Because it wouldn't make sense.
Well, I was thinking the same thing, and I even said the same thing, and then I had a conversation with someone. I was like, yeah, they make all those new for every movie. They don't use the same stuff for the most part. Like the big sets, they might, like if they have a set of Stormwind, they might have that. But the actual armor, they're just going to make new ones. Unless they film everything back to back, like, say, Lord of the Rings, where they made like 37 sets of armor for this one guy. Yeah, then they'll keep them. And if they get rid of them, then it's done. But for movies that don't have immediate sequels, it doesn't really mean anything. But the fact that it didn't make its money back outside of China, like if it wasn't for China, it got screwed. That basically says there's no, like, as soon as I saw the number, I was like, yeah, there's no sequel unless it's in Chinese.
I don't know that they did it for profit.
Everything Hollywood does is for profit.
I don't know that Blizzard's ultimate goal was immediate profit from the movie. If I was Blizzard, I'm playing the long game, because that's how World of Warcraft has always been played, is the long game, right? They bank off the recurring money. They bank off the lifers and stuff like that. I feel like it was a very, very large and expensive PR campaign.
Yeah, it was an intro. If they make a second one, I will wait for the previews to decide if I want to go see it. But if they make a second one, Hollywood won't want to touch it. It's going to be Blizzard funding it.
I don't know. Hollywood made 7 Wrong Turns and 40 other sequels of really shitty movies. So, I mean, what Hollywood would and would not touch is like, I don't know that they have standards anymore.
Hollywood's biggest thing is if it turns a profit, they'll keep making it as long as it's worth it. Yes, most of these movies are terrible, but enough people are buying or watching that they are turning a profit for what they're spending on it. Warcraft didn't do that. So Blizzard is going to end up, if they make a sequel, Blizzard will have to fund it. Which, in my mind, would be a good thing. I mean, not from Blizzard's point of view, because it'd be risky, because it did so horribly at the box office in the US. But it would be a good thing because everything Blizzard touches in terms of we did this, not we let someone else do it with our stuff. Like the animated shorts for Overwatch, almost everyone's like, yeah, I love those. I have some issues with a couple of them, May in particular. But almost every single, and the cinematics in WoW is another one. Whenever Blizzard sets their eyes on this is what we're going to do in terms of cinematic movie stuff, they almost always hit it out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
So why wouldn't, a movie studio from them, it just seems like it would be, even if it was an animated studio, you could do an animated Warcraft movie. As long as Blizzard did it in their style, I'd be fine with it. It would probably be more enjoyable to me than the Warcraft movie was.
I would totally watch an animated movie. Like if they worked themselves into an actual full-length animated, good animated, not, because they went, 90% of the movie was CGI anyway. So you might as well just...
Yeah. There was too much CG in it too. A lot of the backgrounds could have been actually made.
Yeah. Budget probably. But yeah, I would totally watch. I really would, especially if they're continuing on in story or they're telling, more of a story that, maybe I don't know or others don't know. Yeah. And really, it was seeing the Warcraft costumes when we went to get our kids' Halloween costumes last year. I can't explain the feeling of being at the Halloween store and seeing a game that I've played for, the better part of 10 years. It's everywhere. And okay, the toys were shit quality, let's be honest. Medivh looked like not Medivh.
Yeah, there was issues with a lot of it, but I don't know if it was the advertising that screwed over the movie or just that it was not the right time and place. Like Lord of the Rings hit, and they expected it to be profitable, but not to the point where they paid for all 3 of them with the box office of the first one. So the second and third were complete profit all the way through.
Well, and the fandom from that, honestly, they did such a good job. I read the books when I was a kid, so seeing that was impressive, to say the least.
Yeah.
And I'm obsessed with everything Lord of the Rings, really. It was super impressive.
Yeah,
That they were able to. And then the Hobbits, I didn't want to like it. I did not want to like it because I thought you're trying to take away, even though, Bilbo's story was huge, especially with the books. Like, that's a big part of it if you read the books. But I thought you're just trying to steal Frodo's thunder. Get out of here. But they again, stellar job delivering, in my opinion.
I have widely varying opinions between Lord of the Rings and the first three, the Hobbits, for the movies. Like, I loved Lord of the Rings, all three of them. I consider it one good, long movie. The Hobbits, to me, are a money grab, and, like, it just didn't seem like they wanted it. It was there because no one else was going to do it, kind of thing.
I mean, they delivered pretty well from the book.
It was... It didn't need to be 3 movies. That was one of my issues. I would have accepted 2, but there was just stuff that didn't need to be. I was like, no, this didn't happen. I've read the book. I've read the appendices where you're saying you pulled this from. These 37 scenes here didn't happen. That's the pure fluff there. I'm just like, I understand changes and stuff like that. Even with the Warcraft movie, I understand that some stuff needed to get changed. Like, it made no sense to me that Dalaran was already up in the sky, even though that happened in the game later. I get that kind of stuff.
Entertainment value, that's why.
Yeah, I get changes have to be made, but whenever it doesn't make sense, why are you changing it?
True.
So, but yeah, in terms of Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies, they are not comparable. But I think it was more of a right place, right time kind of thing when it came to Lord of the Rings, and sadly, Warcraft was not in that right place, right time. But I'm one of those people who I went in hoping to like the movie and didn't.
I loved it, but the only reason I loved it is because I'm not old school lore like a lot of people are. Mm-hmm. So a lot of that stuff, it didn't bother me like it bothered my co-host, or like it bothered, a couple of my friends that are huge
lore nerds,
lore curators, like historians, even, like very passionate about keeping the story and, the changes or things that did or didn't happen, and, that kind of thing, especially if you're introducing World of Warcraft to the world the way that you did. But I got to tell you, there's a joy in walking into the living room and watching my children watch the movie. And my son turns around and goes, "Mom, isn't this the game you play?" "Yes, son, it sure is the game I play." Like, there's a joy there. Joy.
It wasn't anything lore related that I didn't like. There was some acting issues and some CG issues that I had that I was like,
You mean the fact that they promoted what is his name? Rob Kazansky? Is that his name? He played Orgrim? Or they promoted, he was like the face of the movie, and he was not an integral part of the movie. Yeah. Duratan was, but yet, he was the face they chose to be the representation of the movie, and all the tours and all the promos and all of that stuff. But to me, Orgrim, while he was very well known, but you have it's Duratan. Duratan was...
I understand their choice there. That didn't bother me either. It was, like I said, it was just some of the acting I didn't like. There was quite a few CGs that I was like, that looks terrible. It looks like you ran out of money before you were done.
So what happens when you don't have any more good cheese? You have to use the cheap stuff you bought when it was on sale.
Yeah, it was... There was just... And then they didn't explain certain things at all. Like the whole Medivh thing. There was no explanation whatsoever in the movie itself. Which, given how weird it is, I understand why it wasn't really explained, but then if you're not going to explain it, you can't have it there because that's how movies work. And
are you talking about like the previous...
in the movie.
But is it like how he knew the Fel from before?
Well, I was thinking more along the lines of there towards the end, like what happened. Like it was just like I guess screw it. We can talk about spoilers. It's been 2 years plus. Whenever he does his little transformation in the tower, and he's not a good guy anymore, there was no explanation as to why that happened. Like, if you know the lore of the game, you kind of know what's going on, but otherwise you have no freaking clue because there's there's no words whatsoever in the movie saying, well, this could happen, or this did happen. It was just, boom, it's there. And that does not work in movies.
True.
So
that's true.
But anyway, I don't want to complain about it. I love the fact that it got made. I wish it would have been better. We'll just drop it there. And yes. So
hopefully nothing in the future unless it's
good.
Good.
But I am a movie snob, and I freely admit that. So there is that.
It's okay, I'm a taco snob.
Whatever. We're all snobs at something. It's just a matter of what it is. But anyway, on to the individual games. Heroes. We had a nice little banhammer go out for people AFKing and intentionally dying and all that fun stuff. So, grats. That was fun. And if you are listening live and maybe on the download, it depends on how quickly I get it up. The video, get your mind out of the gutter. On Monday, a new hero and a new map is going to get revealed live at, I believe it's 10 a.m. Pacific, which means 1 p.m. my time, Eastern. And we don't know who it's going to be, but odds are it's going to be an Overwatch character because Overwatch is the hotness everywhere. And it might even be the Hanamura map coming back. I kind of hope not. But yeah. They'll be streaming that over on the Blizz Heroes Twitch stream, so check that out. You don't play Heroes at all, do you?
I do sometimes, like, you know how I don't want to say need a break from your regular game, but sometimes because I'm working on World of Warcraft 24/7, I just need to not look at it for a few, and I need to do something that's mindless, that isn't serious to me, right? Mm-hmm. Just something. So yeah, sometimes we might be drinking and we're just like, hey, let's do hero stuff. And oddly enough, I really like playing Jaina, and I don't know why, because I hate Jaina, but in general as a person. What
skin do you use in Heroes for Jaina?
I have a...
And why is it the Dreadlord skin?
I have it's a dark skin. It looks similar to the dark, like, dead version of Illyria, ? Actually, that's a good question. I don't remember. But it's not her normal. It's a darker...
Yeah.
I haven't played for a really long time. But, yeah, I played.
Yeah, I don't play Jaina often, but I will only play her as a Dreadlord because it's funny to me.
I think it's like a dark skin, but I know... weirdness meant there, guys, before we start getting crazy, because I am politically incorrect some days, but I enjoy it sometimes. MOBAs aren't really my thing, but it's fun when you don't need to care to just do stuff. I like watching the tournament sometimes. Obviously, I have to pay attention now because Method is a team.
They did it just for you, I'm sure. She doesn't like this game. Make her watch it anyway.
That's pretty much where they're like, you need to be watching so you always know. Always know what? I'll just read your tweets. Well, we might need you to tweet. You don't want me to tweet about non-Warcraft stuff, guys, because it's awful. I'm not...
They did the thing to the stuff. They did the stuff at the thing with the other guy. Yeah.
I had to tweet about Rocket League one time because our normal social media person we have an intern at Method that does that. I've played Rocket League a few times, but I don't know what's good and bad. I don't know, how awesome this score was. So I'm just like, they did stuff. Here's a GIF that our person made.
Yeah, I couldn't. I could see something be like, yeah, that was really cool. I don't know why it was really cool, but sure. Or how it was
Exactly.
really, that, yeah.
They did a thing and it's good. Yay, we're all happy. Yay!
Yeah. We mentioned a little bit of Overwatch stuff earlier, but Sombra is getting one of those Neon Droid figurine things. The ones that are like $50. Little posable. Is it? Yeah, Nendoroid, I guess is the exact word. $50 little itty bitty Sombra thing on a little clear plastic statue. This one actually looks pretty cool because it comes with like a background with like little circuitry and stuff. I thought that was really interesting, but it's still $50. That I love Blizzard, don't get me wrong, but their stuff is always so expensive, says the guy who spent $200 on the Reaper statue. But yeah. If you're collecting Overwatch stuff, here's another $50 you need to spend. It does look cool though, I'll give them that.
I'd rather set myself on fire.
I'm gonna recommend not doing that. Unless you're a professional.
I am a professional fire starter, actually. It is my preferred method of many things in life. We're not going to get into all that. But yeah, I would rather set myself on fire.
You're allowed.
That's 50. So $50. Once again, equate in tacos.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of taco money.
Yeah.
I just can't. I can't be okay with those decisions.
That's perfectly fine. We all have things we like. I have strange collections. I used to have more, but I used to have a nice collection of ceramic dragon things and skulls. I still have 2 skulls and gargoyles. But
I have shrunken heads. I don't know if that's
well. I've moved across country like 3 times, so stuff. Like, it gets to the point where, do I really want to carry these 5 boxes of books and, all this stuff over and over and over? And it just gets to the point where you're like, yeah, I'm just going to sell these and eventually I'll get them again. But anyway, World of Warcraft has some stuff too. The MDI, which I know you're a huge fan of. Mainly because Method's still in it.
Yep.
Actually, they've got 2 teams in it. Well, you've got 2 teams, so you have a good chance.
Not for nothing, though, Method's team is really good. These guys are really good. And it's not just because I see the back end stuff of their communication or they're very, very, very knowledgeable.
Well, they're in the top 8, so they would have to be.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that aren't too bright that are in the top 8 because they just have the ability to do what they need to do because that's the one, you don't have to be super book smart or all of that but 2 of these guys, which because they do the guides, we work with Wowhead on that, but their ability is just like, man.
Yeah. Sorry, taking care of some chat stuff.
Oh, he wanted me to go to prom with him.
Yeah,
or her.
Yeah, there is some clear issues going on there, so I didn't want to deal with it.
I didn't go to my own prom, so
I didn't go to mine either. But that was a choice on purpose. But anyway, I don't
remember the reason.
I wanted nothing to do with my school.
Oh, that's a good reason to not go to prom.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do dresses, so.
Yeah. Here's a funny story about my school.
Are you going to tell me that you wore a dress? Because if you are, I'm going to laugh hysterically because I was expecting you to.
You're probably going to laugh hysterically, but no, I did not wear a dress. Now, keep in mind, this was on the first day of the 4th month of the year. And I phrase it that way on purpose, so that way you have to think about it. I was telling people that I was planning on going to prom in a black crushed velvet tutu.
They make those?
I have no idea, but I'm sure it was possible. Now, the first day of the 4th month of the year is April Fool's Day.
No normal human being knows that.
January, February, March, April.
I'm going to call shenanigans because normal humans don't know that information.
It was April Fool's Day when I said it. The way I explained it to you was
got it.
to make
Okay.
it
Got it.
so people would have to think about it while I was telling the story.
Makes
So
sense.
I was telling people on April Fool's Day, that's what I was planning on wearing to prom. And I literally kept a straight face, gave him the exact same details. The principal, by the end of the day, came up to me and was like, you cannot show up to prom in that. And I just kind of looked at him and was like, what day is today? And he's like, oh, okay. And I was like, yeah, I'm not showing up. And I walked away. I had no intention of ever going. I just wanted to see how far they'd let me go with that joke.
You were the guy in high school that...
I was the guy that on October 13th, which was a Friday the 13th, there was a blood drive. I walked into that area asking for the ability to make a withdrawal.
That's terrible.
But it was funny.
That is just absolutely fucking terrible. It was pretty funny, though,
Yeah.
if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I can't even deny that.
I have a bunch of stories like that from my school that 10 years after I had stopped going, yes, it's been at least that long, they were still making references about me, at least by a nickname that I had at the time. So I was fairly well known and not necessarily well liked. But anyway, getting back to Blizzard stuff, and in particular the MDI, if you're in Ohio or near Ohio, or just feel like going to Ohio, well, first off, why? That seems like a bad decision on your part. But June 22nd to June 24th, you at least have a valid excuse. The MDI will be played live in Columbus. So you could actually go and watch these people play live. And you got two method groups, one from America, one from Europe. You got a couple teams from Asia Pacific. Free Marzi is the one I'm aware of. Skyline D from China is the other one I know. And then you got 4 other teams that I've never heard of because I wasn't paying attention for half the MDI, to be honest. But you can watch the MDI live on LAN, which means they'll be able to track bugs way better, because I know there were some issues recently involving a remake. There was some drama there. I'm not going to get into that. We covered that when it happened. To this day, I still don't know what was going on there. I just heard about it, and I was like, yeah, there was drama. Don't know why, but there was. Yeah. So MDI, Columbus, it'll be fun. I would go if I could. I don't know that I'm able to. Because that's still like a 3-hour drive. But yeah. Anyway, moving on. We talked mounts earlier. And I mentioned the 2 million gold spider, and you made reference to I'm assuming the 5 million brontosaurus.
Yeah, we're going Jurassic Park in this hood, guys.
You realize that if you translate that into WoW tokens, that's a $500 mount, right?
You realize that I will pay $500 to be able to auction on my whim. I still use my garrison every day. My garrison gets used every day because I farm the hell out of what I needed for my auctioneer in my garrison. I go back to my garrison every day. I do my ship missions. I do my garrison mission board. I do all of those things every single day.
That hurts my head. That hurts my head.
You want to know why? Because even if we hated it, I feel like I'm not doing anything right now anyway.
Yeah.
But they put a lot of great care, and it makes me sad when stuff doesn't get used in the next expansion. It hurts my feelings, but I will be at the top of the list. I will have that 5 million before launch. I don't know how, but I will.
How close would you say you are right now?
I have 1 million. Okay. And I've had to work really hard for that over this little bit of time. Yeah, I have about 1 million. So, I give a lot of gold to guildies, so I don't.
Okay, so I'm not going to say how much gold I actually have, But what I will say is my paladin has a percentage of that as walking around money.
Oh, I hate you.
I didn't say how much it was. But I want to buy the mount, but because it's worth $500, I mean, not really. I mean, it's Val Gold, whatever. But I could buy tokens and it'd be worth $500. It makes it really hard for me to justify buying it. And I don't work hard on gold at all. I just do my world quests and farm stuff, and like the blood of Sargeras that I've got. I turn those into mats, and I end up going to a bank tune and selling them. And it's not. I don't put a whole lot of effort into it. And what I will say is my walking around money is 1.7 million on my paladin.
My walking around money is like 100 gold. Okay, I don't have walking around money. Arguably, I spent a good amount on transmog items that I didn't want to do runs to farm.
Yeah, I've done that. I gave away as a birthday present basically the equivalent of a WoW token, because a long time ago this person did the same thing for me. Only it wasn't a WoW token. It was they paid for a month of my thing, so I gave them a WoW token to keep going. But so it was, even and out. But yeah, I bring up the huge amounts because there's going to be a pet next expansion. A pet, not a mount, but a pet that you can't get unless you are holding 1 million gold. You don't have to spend the million gold, which is nice. But if you don't have 1 million gold on your character when you talk to that pet, it'll kind of look at you and be like, I don't care. You ain't rich.
I don't really care that much for pets. Some are cute, but I'm not really not really about that pet life.
I mean, I used to I can't learn any more pets because I have the maximum, and I've been lately using my free bonus mission from a couple of my order halls to just clear out the pet missions, just so I'll eventually have them all cleared out. But I've got 1,000, I think it's 1,002 pets, and I've still got like 5 in my bags on a couple characters that I can't learn because I can't. I could unlearn a few, I guess, but I don't want to. I'm lazy. I don't want to go searching. So, I mean, I've got pets. I haven't done any pet battles lately. Except for the Indalaron every so often, because you can't freebie those ones for some reason. But I don't know. I would much rather use them on stuff that I'm not going to do. The freebie missions, I mean. That way I get like for the pet battles, I'm not going to do them, and I can do all the PvP stuff. Like I can take those towers out in whatever the arena is for the day. I can do that, no problem. So, yeah, sure. I'll just use my freebie on the pet battles, and eventually I'll get the achievement, and I'll get 500 more pets that I can eventually learn. And yay, I have more pets because I don't have enough already. But I will be able to buy that, or I will be able to pick up that pet. So unless you find him before you buy that mount, which I have a feeling it's going to be a Zandalari pet mount.
I'll make sure that I don't ever purchase anything that leaves me with a certain threshold that I feel like I should have. Mm-hmm. And I will never, go beyond that threshold of not having that. I'll always have a set amount of money in the bank. So I'll go way, way, way over before I'll even touch it.
6 million.
Honestly. Gotcha. Yeah. Just to be safe. I like to be better safe than sorry. And it's like real life money. You never know what you're going to need it for. Sometimes guildies need game time. Like a lot of stuff happens. You just want to be prepared. So yeah. I'm pretty good about that. Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And as I was saying, if you want the Brontosaurus mount, I want it too. I just don't know that I'm going to spend 5 million on it. So Maybe if I, play the lottery and win the lottery, I'll be like, hey, you get a Brontosaurus mount. You get a Brontosaurus mount to people I know. Can I just have the cash instead? No, you must have this mount. I don't even play the game. You get a copy of the game. Can't you just give me money? No. All right. Anyway, there was a secondary reason why I asked you on. And that's because I know you have a thing coming up towards BlizzCon.
Is it my sparkling personality?
I said there was more than one reason. Multiple. So I will say yes? Question mark?
How much more awkward can I make this whole situation with my face?
Do you want a real answer to that?
No.
Okay.
It was more rhetorical.
Okay. I'm used to saying rhetorical things and then people answering anyway. And then I just kind of looked at him and was like, that wasn't to you. There's no one else in the room. I don't care. That wasn't to you. But anyway, you have this party coming up, and this year it's on Halloween, if I hear correctly. So what is Ditchcon?
Well, Ditchcon was born of a very emotional time in 2015, which was my very first BlizzCon. And I was ditched by my friends and was forced to watch the concert by myself. All my friends were gone. Everybody ditched me. They were all in different places. And I was mad because I was there with my friends. I didn't understand the nature of BlizzCon. And to understand the very nature of BlizzCon is to know, especially when it's your first con, there's a lot to absorb and a lot to take in. And you feel the need to do everything. So you're very scheduled and making sure that you're doing all the things that you need to be doing. Then by your second con, you're like, okay, this wasn't really that important to me. This isn't that important to me. Then by your second, third con, you've kind of got it all figured out. But what had happened is I was involved with a group, and we, this was when we had 5 cast members, ? And they were throwing it wasn't like a dance party. There was a DJ, but it wasn't like nobody was dancing. It was like a social event, and it was nice. The place they had it was really nice. It was a very fun evening, and I noticed a trend in parties at BlizzCon, and the trend in parties is it's exclusive. The really fun parties that have a lot of good, where people actually dance and drink and are not VIPs. They're not Blizzard famous. They're not influencers. Is that the word the kids are using these days?
Sure.
Those parties are exclusive. They're invite only. They're not for everyone. If you do get invited, like I have gotten invited a few every year, because not because I'm anybody important, but just because my friend is. But I don't go to those. I don't go. I'm sad that I missed some of them. Like I was told the Discord party was pretty amazing last year. I didn't go because if I can't bring all of my people, there's no point in me going to a party just because. So this idea of Ditchcon, I had tweeted and Facebooked hashtag Ditchcon 2015 when I was very salty in my room and sad because everybody ditched me. And in seeing the dynamic of BlizzCon and how much importance is put on, there's just a lot of things that are probably not good for public ears. But I wanted to, sorry, Alexa.
This is a reminder.
Alexa's reminding me of my to-do list that I'm missing.
Hey,
Shut up, Alexa.
Hey, Alexa, can you beatbox for me?
Alexa, cancel.
This is a reminder.
Alexa, cancel. Oh my goodness, she is relentless, man.
It's fine.
But I wanted to change that, and one of my frustrations is there not being a dance vibe, and to me that's a party, right? Social gatherings and stuff like that when you're in the Hilton lobby and all that's cool, but I feel like as a human sometimes you need to blow off steam and you need to dance awkwardly and you need to just celebrate and love it. I wanted to provide that, and I didn't know if I could. I was absolutely terrified, and it was okay. The first one was good. I learned a lot. The last year was even better, but I also learned more. So we're changing the way that the room is set up to make it more functional, and we're adding some really great things this year. But so it was born from friendship, and it's a way to celebrate being ditched at the con and that being okay. Because in this room, you're not going to be ditched because everybody's together, and there isn't an exclusivity. There's no VIP tables. There's no, we're all together and we're all created equal today. Like, I want to be in the middle. I want to be in the crowd with the awkward nerd dancing and drunk messes. So Ditchcon is happening again for its third year, where our Kickstarter is about 60% funded. We were at 62. We had some backing out, and that happens, and that's okay. People just have real lives that they need to spend money on. But we have about 29 days to fund. Otherwise, all the Ditchcon dreams go up in smoke.
For this year, anyway. I'm sure you'll try again next year if something does happen.
It won't not happen, because if I have to get on the corner to make up the difference, we're going to fund. Because I'm dedicated, guys. But instead, I have to rely on nerds like you. So if you've got even, $25, $30, throw it our direction. We have really good rewards. The t-shirt art's my favorite. We got Noxie and Firecatter. They're the ones that did the art. But the art is just stellar this year. So, yeah, if, people have the means. The party's free. It'll always be free. We have a brew pass this year that's very limited because it gives you free drinks the night of the party, and free's free.
Yep.
So that's my spiel.
Okay. I have not been to a Ditchcon, sadly. I've only gone to the 2015 BlizzCon, and I did not even know about. I don't think I knew about Ditchcon at the time. So.
No, because Ditchcon was 2016 and 2017. This is our third year.
All right. Yeah. So I just missed it because I haven't been able to go back since. Real life. But I've heard nothing but good things from people who have gone. So
it's not for everyone.
No. I mean, nothing's going to be for everyone. Like, even BlizzCon technically was outside of my comfort zone because there's a lot of people, and I don't deal well around a lot of people.
Oh, that's when I shine.
Yeah,
I really do. If they're people that are my people, like if I'm in a crowded mall, not my situation, not my get down, I'm having 20 meltdowns and I'm irritated. But BlizzCon, surround me with everyone because I cannot get enough of people. Not all of them, guys, are my favorite. Some of them are not my favorite, but yeah, it's my. But we've got quiet areas at Ditchcon for people that want to sit, and we've got Cards Against Humanity. We got a couple other like just table stuff for people to do if they're not into being. If you don't want to get up and shake your goodies. But we've got a costume contest, and we have 2 celebrity judges. Would you like to know the celebrity judges?
Is it a secret?
Well, it's a semi-secret. I told people that listen to our show, which is my mom and a few close friends.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you tell us if it's exclusive on the internet, tell us, and then I will wait until you post your show to post this. That way you can
tell everybody. It doesn't matter. It's nice to drum up a little bit of hype. I just haven't done the promo for it yet. That's the only reason it's not there. Celestalon will be one of the. I'm calling them celebrity judges because it sounds cool, but like these are my friends, so.
Well, for our circle, someone like Celestalon kind of is a celebrity.
Oh, he's so much a man of the people. Like, and the fashion Chad has is ridiculous, but he's going to be doing the costume contest as well as Jari. Method Jari, because Method Jari is super hot, and that is what brings all the boys to the yard, ladies and gentlemen. No shame there.
Hey.
Not at all. I asked Scott too, but he's like, how about you just keep Jari, because I don't have any business. I'm Scottish. I don't know anything about Halloween costumes.
Whatever works is what I say. As long as everyone involved is consenting and it's legal, go for it. That's my attitude on things.
That's a good rule in all things in life. I have to agree.
Yeah. I tend not to get overly worked up as much as possible. Like I mentioned, I went to 2015 BlizzCon, and it took me all of about 3 minutes before I started. I literally went outside the Hilton bar, outside, because I could feel the breakdown happening. So, but once I did that, I took 10 minutes outside, and I just, took a deep breath. I was like, I am here for a reason, and I just stubborned my way through it for the rest of the time. And that's kind of how I got through BlizzCon, despite there are so many people. And I will agree with you. The first time you were there, you want to do everything, and then you get there and you realize, crap, I can't. Like I didn't see a single panel the year I was there. That was mostly by choice, because I knew I had the virtual ticket. I could watch it later. So it was like the game demos that I wanted to see. Like I wanted the stuff I couldn't get at home experience. So I went out of my way for that kind of thing. But yeah, it was fun, despite the fact that I couldn't walk for 2 days after I came back home. Because, you skip leg day long enough and you have like 10 miles of walking a day.
Or
it's huge. You don't understand how big BlizzCon really is until you're there. Like I saw a diagram of how big the Anaheim Convention Center was. I was like, it's no problem. And I saw where I was staying, which I found that place literally the day before I left. That was entertaining. But I was like, it'll be no problem. And you don't realize how many times you go back and forth.
Yeah, or you're trying to get your Kickstarter to fund.
Yeah, I haven't had to mess with that, luckily.
It was your very first one, right? So you tell people, okay, we're X amount of money away from the goal. We were really close. Yeah. We were like 92%. And I said, okay, if we fund this today, which was like 13 days before, it closed, and I just wanted to be done with the anxiety, because the anxiety of not funding is stressful every year, because I don't even like promoting the party until it funds, because it's scary. Well, we funded, and I had to wear a dress. And if I'm going to wear a dress, I'm going to go all out. And I bought a pair of shoes. They were Chucks. They matched the dress. Oh, my feet, I couldn't even walk the next day. In fact, I had to walk in small stages because they were bleeding everywhere. It was really bad. So lesson learned about walking, and break your feet in slowly.
Comfortable shoes is a must. Luckily for me, I will only ever wear steel-toe boots, so my feet are completely used to that. I have custom insoles that I had made that I stuck in there, but my feet are used to uncomfortable, so steel-toe boots is not an issue for me. But I can't wear anything else. I've dropped too many things on my toes. But anyway, if I ever get back, Ditchcon is on my list of things to go to. It sadly won't be this year, unless I manage to win the lottery. But like I said before, I've heard nothing but good things out of anyone who's ever been to any of the Ditchcons. So it is on my list of things that I want to be at some point. And with that, we've run really long. I apologize. I told her it was only going to be like an hour and a half, and it's been like 2.
My fault. I don't have any chill. I'm sorry.
It's fine. So, do you have any shout-outs or anything like that you want to give people?
No. People, okay. If people want to find me, they can find me. I'm not that interesting. But I just like talking about WoW stuff. So, PWNCast. That's pretty much all of it.
Okay.
We're everywhere. We're like Herpes. I'm the good kind of Herpes, though, if there's a good kind.
I think we got a show title. But that'll be interesting to see Rose's face on that one. Won't be the first time.
He wouldn't be surprised at all, to be honest.
Yeah, well, we've had
he expects that when I'm on someone's podcast for the title to be...
Oh, we've had some doozies over here, too. So he's asked me, is that really the show title? I was like, yeah. But as for me, shout-outs, I wasn't personally involved, but my raid team helped a few people get the Mythic 15 artifact appearance because they wanted it. So Silverbolt and I'm going to use your WoW name, Barf. I'm sorry. Bartholomew. I know you go by another thing on Twitch now, but you're Barf. I'm giving your shout out. Gress to you guys. Last thing from you, Belle. If people want to get a hold of you.
1-800-BigBootyHose.com. I'm just kidding.
Don't go to that website, please. I don't know what's there. We here at Epic Fail do not endorse such a website.
I feel like it's a real website, but
It probably is, to be honest, but
usually my answer is 911 just because. I don't know why people invite me to places that are any kind of public or professional. It's Epic Fail, so I guess we are one and the same. I am on the Twitter sphere. I'm on Facebook, but my Facebook's super only friends. I don't allow non-friends on my Facebook because I have pictures of my kids and all that kind of stuff. Twitter, Instagram, I'm a Snapchat. I haven't been doing it so much lately, but I really like Snapchatting body selfies for no particular reason. Just because. But yeah, pretty much, Belle of PWNCast is pretty much everywhere with the exception of my Snapchat, which has my real name in it, which is Samantha is my Snapchat. But everything else is Belle of PWNCast.
Okay.
Because, I'm old. I need to remember stuff, so I make it all the same.
Yeah, it seems like the best way to do it, honestly. As long as your passwords are different. As for me, I am at Draven Dresden over on Twitter. As I say all the time, as long as you're civil and polite, have a conversation. I don't care. Very few topics are off limits. As for everything else I got to mention, the opening theme music, found that over at bensound.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. We have a Patreon for the show if you feel like throwing money. We won't understand your decision, but we will appreciate it. Patreon.com/podcastepicfail. We have a Discord. We don't really use it that much, but if you want to know,
I just started. I'm going to join your Discord.
Oh,
we started ours, and I'm very bad at it recently because busy. But I'm fancying the Discord. If I'm being 100% honest, I like it.
I love Discord. Unfortunately, I'm in so many of them that it's really hard to keep up on more than 5.
Yeah,
and that means the other 87 now that I've cut down are neglected from me. So, I try to keep up, but I'm really bad at starting conversations. But Discord link, bit.ly/epicfail Discord. Because it's much like I'm old! Things gotta be easy! And then we have one last tradition for the show, Belle. And that is we ask our guests a very important question, and it is not it is kind of in the notes, but it's not worded the same way. Do you have any last words for the show?
Like before I die?
Well, just for do you have any last words for the show? If you want to go with before you die, then sure, but I
am really happy you had me on, and I want to thank you and thank your viewers and listeners for having me. It's an honor, and I don't know why people ask me to do stuff, but I'm honored when people do that because it's fun.
This is not the show to use the word honor.
Yeah, it's an honor. When you're talking with people that love the game that you love, that's an honor.
Yeah. An honor. You can use it, but it's much kind of like the Patreon thing. You can use it and do it, but we're not going to understand it. It's just us.
I'm also not the most sane person, so...
Yeah. I know that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, as my last words, I will thank you for being on yet again. I meant to ask you way earlier on, but for whatever reason, I was like, yeah, she's just busy. And then finally I got around to, you know what? Even if she is busy, we can plan ahead like months in advance. And it finally dawned on me that was an option. So
I'll never say no, ever.
You should not say such things on the internet. And
I have never. Well, okay, context is important.
Yeah.
I would never say no to anybody that asked me to be on their show ever. Never.
Yeah. Anyway, I know you've got to go, so I will go ahead and say good night, everybody. We'll be back next week, maybe with a gal, maybe with a guest. We don't know yet. Bye.